What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel for a testing video that I am extremely excited about. I can't remember another testing video that I've done lately that I've had this much anticipation and excitement. Looking forward to this. But for today's video, we're going to be testing a new golf ball here. So, as you guys are aware, I've gone pretty much entirely over to the TP5 balls. Lately, I've been using the TP5 X's just because they're a little bit firmer and one with the ball speed, but mainly the main reason I went to them is because a little bit firmer. I was hoping that I would crack them a little bit less because I end up cracking a ball pretty frequently. I've gone through probably a dozen and a half TP5s so far between the X's and the regular 5s that I've cracked. Really good ball, basically the most premium ball you can get. They usually run right around $50 a dozen, so one of the more expensive balls too. But the fact that Square opened it up to be able to use any ball you want is pretty awesome. However, I recently stumbled across a ball that I think and I hope that will work really well. So just to be clear, I will link everything down below in the description and the comments to get this exact ball that I have. I took about 5 warm-up swings before. Those were with my regular clubs and with the TP5s, the number that you're seeing on screen right there. So I have not hit these balls. We're going to do this for the very first time. I'm really hoping that this video doesn't turn out to be a dud and they actually work. But we are going to be testing out the Maxfli TriFli 3-piece golf ball. And I literally have not taken these out of the sleeve yet. These particular balls, there's 3 different patterns. Again, I'll link down below where I got them, and stay tuned to the end of the video. You will not believe what I actually paid for these. I'll go over all the pricing and everything else at the end, but I want to kind of get into this. I sometimes jibber jabber too much and do too much of a lengthy intro, but at the end of it, I will go over exactly what I paid, which is a really good price. But the reason why I stumbled across this, I saw like 2 posts from a couple months back. I don't know why they came across my feed, but these balls are the ones with the skulls on them. If you can see that, they're kind of skull and crossbones. Similar pattern to the TP5. If I grab one of those and kind of compare them side by side, to me it seems like it would work. The other versions had the money sign and the red kind of beer can. I'm not sure about those, but if we put these 2 balls side by side, you can kind of see a pretty similar pattern. The TP5 there, maybe just a little bit bigger for it to lock on, but pretty similar pattern here. Kind of also an alignment aid for rolling putts and whatnot, but I'm really hopeful for this. So without further ado, let's see what this ball can do. And like I said, make sure you stick around to the end. I'll tell you what I paid, how many I bought, all that good stuff. But this is going to be a 2-part testing, so the video right after this will be a separate video. For this one, what I want to do is just isolate once and for all and figure out if these balls actually work. So what I have is 3 clubs from my old set. These are my old Sim 2 irons. So I have a pitching wedge and a 7-iron. Main thing here, no club stickers. So if we get any kind of side spin, we know for 100% sure and 100% it's a fact that the Square is able to read these. And honestly, to be able to switch over, it needs to be at least 9 out of 10 shots it reads the spin. Honestly, it needs to be even higher than that. You can't have 1 out of every 10 shots, even that, for 90%, which is pretty good. You can't have 1 out of 10 shots just not read spin and read dead straight. If you're playing online, any kind of matches, it's just, you can't have it. So really, it needs to be 18, 19 out of 20 shots, really closer towards, I think, those numbers to justify a switch. But no club stickers, so we know if we get any kind of side spin data, spin access, we know that the Square is actually picking up on it. So we'll go pitching wedge 7-iron, and then I just have my old driver there. So without further ado, moment of truth, 3-piece golf ball. There's been a couple people that have been switching over to Maxfli. I think I saw Run Pud Run Judd was the first one to kind of recommend them. Danko got them and really liked them. They're using the tour balls. Unfortunately, I'm kind of limited with the decals. But this is a 3-piece ball, really good price. Run Pud Run used them. Danko used them. I think Craig got them. There's a couple other people that said they want to test them out. But here we go. I'm actually kind of nervous because I bought a decent amount of these balls, and I'm really hoping that this will be a good alternative to $50 a dozen TP5. So pitching wedge. Let's go. And it read it. The second part of this test, so I was kind of, let's go. That's a good sign. I'm going to get out the other balls too. I just took out that one. So this part of the test is just going to be to see if it actually picks up across the bag. I mean, I could hit every single club, but I would be pretty confident, and I would be able to put my stamp of approval. If we hit about 5 or 10 shots with each of these clubs, the pitching wedge, 7-iron, and driver, and it reads all of them, I'm pretty sure if it's a 5-iron or anything in between, 9-iron, it's not going to make a difference. But this part will just be if it actually reads the spin. The second part, I'll stop this video and I'll do another one. It'll be posted either in a day or two. It'll be comparing head-to-head a brand new sleeve of these Maxfli balls with a brand new sleeve of the Taylormade TP5s with my actual clubs and the club stickers, and we're going to compare ball speeds, spin numbers, backspin, side spin, launch angle. I've heard that these are slightly higher launching, so it'll be a bit more of an apples-to-apples comparison. But as far as this video, we just want to make sure that, and you can see no club data, so we just want to make sure that these things are actually able to be used. So that's 2 in a row. Granted, those are a little bit thin. I haven't hit these clubs in a while. They're loft jacked Game Improvement Sim 2s, but that's my pitching wedge. It's 7,500 spin, a little bit on the low side, but they're Game Improvement clubs, so they're loft jack. 200 side spin, carried 123, rolled out to 130. Let's hit the patented with my testing videos. Patented hook here. 2,000 side spin, lower backspin. To me, that checks out. Carry's still decent. I'd be curious to look when I record this next video, seeing the differences. I won't be able to notice everything on the fly, but after the fact in editing and as we're kind of watching through it together for a premiere or whatever, seeing the differences between similar strikes with similar clubs with my actual gamer clubs, between the VLAs, the ball speed, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, for the price, again, I'll get to that at the end. For the price of these versus TP5s, I would take a little bit of a downgrade in performance, even a decent size, just for the amount of balls that you can buy for the price. Let's try this time. I'm not very good at fades, but we'll try a big fade with the pitching wedge. 1,800 side spin. I mean, so far, so good. We haven't had a single no read. That one was a bit heely. So that makes sense. That checks out. Try to hit a little bit of a better baby draw here. Then we'll go over to the 7-iron. I mean, so far that's really promising. I was really hoping that this would be the way it goes, but that was literally those first couple shots that I have ever hit with these. They just got delivered, so far so good. Let's hit the that was pitching wedge. Let's try the 7-iron. I can't imagine it's going to be much difference, but you never know. Maybe slightly smaller, slightly thinner decals, possibly with driver or faster ball speeds. Maybe it'll struggle a bit, but so far, I mean, when I really hooked the ball or really sliced the ball, it picked up. Most of these, haven't been perfect shots, but most of them relatively what you would expect, reasonable side spin. That one was kind of just a push right, negative 168 side spin with a minus 1.3 spin axis. Usually not a ton of shape on a pitching wedge, but let's see here with the 7-iron. Oh, that was heely. But picked up the backspin, picked up the side spin. It felt heely, had right side spin. I do miss the club numbers, but this is mainly just a ball test. These things are so chunky, it feels. Alright, that's a tight draw. Feel a little bit funky hitting, and they're rather clicky, but so far, haven't had a single spin, no read. That was a bit low. 180 carry though. And still, I was so excited to hit them. I literally only hit 4 or 5 approach wedges because I was so excited to start using these. So I'm not quite warmed up. If I remember correctly, this 7-iron used to be like my 190, 200 club. $180. I mean, I can stand here. That was 180 carry, 191. I could stand here all day and keep hitting shots, but to me, we've hit probably 15 at this point, maybe, and not a single ball that has missed spin. You could make your own. Oh, that was terrible. You can make your own conclusions if you think it's reading it correctly. I guess that's another point, but I wouldn't be able to know because I'm not a robot. I can't hit the same shot twice, but that was terrible. That was a borderline shank, super low in Healy, and there's a good amount of right side spin, so to me that checks out. These irons are not my favorite to hit anymore, and this driver is going to be even more precarious, but we'll hit a few in a second. I want to feel like I hit probably one more that's halfway decent here with the 7. I mean, that felt pretty good too. 62 RPMs a side spin. So far, really it's not about how I'm hitting them, but at least on ones that I feel like I hit halfway decent, the numbers match up. We haven't missed a single spin number yet, so this is starting to look pretty good, and we'll get, after a couple drivers here, I should tell you exactly which. I've been kind of waiting. It's kind of almost too good to be true for what I paid for these, but wow, this driver, so you guys probably don't really care. You just want to see if the balls work, but this is the first driver that I ever bought besides like a hand-me-down driver. It was the Taylormade RBZ black version. I think it came out in maybe 2016, 17, 18, somewhere in there. But it's a 10.5. This is when I had a super, super big slice. It's a 10.5 turned up to 12.5 with a 55-gram stiff flex shaft, and I cut it down like an inch to almost like a 3-wood 3-wood shaft length. And it looks terrible behind the ball. And as I remember, it sounds terrible too. That was Toei. Read the spin though. You're going to be looking forward to seeing how these feel. They feel a bit firmer. I mean, personally for me, between, maybe I'll get into that in the next video, but between the TP5s and the TP5Xs, I like the feel of a little bit softer with the regular TP5, but the X, just in terms of, oddly enough, I can sometimes tell if the ball is going to be halfway decent to hit based on how it sounds when it bounces. There's some softness to it, slightly lower compression. They have different models. I was doing some research on their lower kind of price tiered offerings. The two other ones, I think they were straight fly and something else. They were only 2-piece balls. These were 3-piece for around the same price, which, I mean, TP5s, they're expensive because they're 5-layer, but even like a Pro V1, that's a 3-piece ball, so you're getting kind of a Pro V1 type of equivalent for significantly less money that seemingly works pretty well here with the square. And I know there's other people out there too. Maybe you don't necessarily have a square, but Pro T, they say like sometimes if you use PIX balls, it helps the unit lock onto it better and you get better readings. I think this will be a really good option too. And it would be one thing if the TP5 PIX balls or the X's just lasted forever. It'd be one thing if they were expensive, but they lasted forever and they never cracked. But I've literally cracked probably almost 2 dozen of them. I don't know if I'm just too close to the screen. I always rotate the 3 balls. I think with these, if I stick with them, which it seems like I'm going to be able to, I'm just going to put a full dozen down here and give them time to kind of cool off. But I crack those TP5s more, if not, or as much, if not more than any other ball. So it's not like those things, because you're paying more for them, they last longer. I'm still cracking them. So if these even last close to the same as the TP5, Man, driver is been in the doghouse as of late, but it's still reading. I do absolutely hate how this driver looks, though. I mean, it's playing 12.5 degrees, so it's just super spinny. But for being cut down, still we have not had a single no read. So I actually do not like hitting this driver, so I think that's it for driver. I'm just going to hit a couple more pitching wedges, and I'll tell you guys the crazy deal I got on this. So just for a point of reference, I know the left side's getting cut off, but I'm curious, how many did we just hit there? 16. We hit 16 shots, and we didn't have a single shot that missed the spin from what I saw. Side spin, all these numbers have populated. So to me, it doesn't get too much better than that. We'll get it up to 20, maybe just a slight bit past that. But to me, if it goes 15 for 15, 20 for 20 without missing any spin, I think that's about as good as you can ask for. That was Healy, so that checks out. I'll have a better judge of the performance when I'm hitting. I plan on doing like back-to-back, probably 10 shots for a few different clubs in my bag with my actual gamers, my P770s. So hit like 10 pitching wedges and go back and forth every single time to the Maxfli TP5, Maxfli TP5, and try to kind of compare and contrast on what feel like similar strikes. A little worse side spin, but it's still populating. We're still getting spin access. And again, no club stickers here. So if I really shut this down and try to hood it, the only way that I could possibly know that that's that big of a hook is if it's locking onto the decal on the ball. That was a big toe hook. I mean, this is about as good as it could have gone, I think. Tough to tell because I'm using different clubs, initial impressions of how they feel. If you check the next video, like I've been saying, that'll be a better judge, so I can kind of feel back and forth with my actual forged clubs. These are cast. Haven't hit these in a while, but I'll be able to get a better judge of how they perform, how they feel. But honestly, like I mentioned a little while ago, even if they feel worse, and even if they perform what you would expect for the price, and they're 3-layer versus 5, whether you believe in the 5-layer or not. Anyways, if they're just, you're going into it knowing that they're not quite as a premium ball. So if they don't feel as good and they don't perform as well, for the price difference, for me, I think it's well worth it. But speaking of price, we'll just hit one more, and then I'll tell you guys how many I got and why I'm extra happy that these actually work. So as of right now, I have a feeling that these things are going to sell like hotcakes once the word kind of gets out. I don't know why. Again, there was a post from like a couple months ago that someone said they tried. There was 3 different versions. You guys just saw here, this was perfect, so I wouldn't even bother. You can if you want. I wouldn't bother with the other 2 versions of the ball. I would only stick to the Skulls. So I have a feeling that these Skulls versions of these balls are going to sell out rather quickly, especially at this price. But as of a couple days ago when I ordered these, they were on sale. They were regular price $24.99, so $25 a dozen. They were on sale for $10 off, so $14.99. And what I did was I actually signed up for, I just used a new email address. If you guys have a random email address for Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy also has them, but the deal isn't quite as good. So I'd recommend going to Dick's first. Either just make a brand new email account. It takes like 2 minutes. Or just use like a friend or family one, or one that you haven't signed up with Dick's before. All you have to do is sign up for an email, and you get $20 off your next purchase of $100 or more. So what I did was at $14.99, I bought 7 dozen balls of these skull balls, which I was really hoping that they would work. I know I can just return them, so it's not that big of a deal. But I bought 7 dozen, which brought the total up to $104.93. Then, because of the email, they just email you a coupon code. You put that in, it takes $20 off, brings the grand total down to $84.93. And then where I am here, it's 7% sales tax. So it brought the grand total, free shipping for 7 dozen golf balls to $90.87, as crazy as that sounds. So basically, for less than the price of 2 dozen TP5s, either X's or the regular 5s with the PIX, I got 7 dozen of these balls that seem to work. Again, performance, I'll test it in the next video. This one's probably already long enough. But the fact that it actually works and it reads every single time, that's like the main checkpoint. From there, if you're that good and you need a little bit extra spin or you're fine-tuning with your VLA and all that kind of stuff, I get it. Probably just stick with the more premium ball. But for us mere mortals, for that price, to be able to get 7 dozen for the price of 2, even less than that, TP5s, I've seen them as low as $45 a dozen, but you're still paying tax. I've paid $50, $55 a dozen. So you're looking right around $100 for 24 golf balls from TP5s. And I got 7 dozen of them for less than that. So pretty darn good. I mean, again, I can't speak. I didn't even bother ordering the other versions of them. Maybe if these happen to sell out and you guys maybe see this video late, maybe the only other option are the money sign ones or the can ones. I will say I tested the Callaway soccer ball type of ball when it first went over, the square went over to the TP5s, that soccer Callaway pattern, and it was the one that had all the red boxes, so it was a red and white ball, and it did not work with the square. So I have a feeling it's going to be pretty hit or miss with the decals of this ball with those red beer cans on it. The money sign, I'm not quite sure. These things, to me, the black, it seems like it's going to like it the most. It'll have good contrast, and the pattern's pretty similar to the TP5s. And what you just saw here, which is what I was hoping, haven't seen anyone else do a test. So we went just about 20 for 20, however many we actually just hit there. We didn't have a single missed spin read, so I mean, again, I don't know what more we could ask for out of that. This probably will be, I'll figure out what I want to title this, but this will for sure be my go-to ball. I don't know if these skull versions, if these are just like a seasonal thing, if this is like something that changes maybe every year. So it would be my advice, while the price is so crazy good and you can get the $20 off of 100 anyways, I would get the 7 dozen, that is, for $90 and just be good to go for golf balls for a very long time. But if you're sticking with the square like I am, you're very happy with it, you have no plans on upgrading, having balls that you know are going to work good. I've heard good things about the longevity of them, the performance. They're a 3-piece golf ball, so in the grand scheme, relatively premium. Usually 2-piece, firmer, harder, not quite as nice, kind of those distance balls that are cheaper. 3-piece, similar to a Pro V1, a bit more premium, and then you go all the way up towards a TP5, which I think is the only ball with 5 layers. But I think that's going to do it. So a little bit longer than I wanted, but I kind of wanted to talk about how I came to this, kind of my thoughts going into it, and you just hit a ton of shots there and not a single misread. So once again, I will put links for the exact ball, this exact one that I got, down in the comments. I believe both Dick's and Golf Galaxy have these. If I'm not mistaken, it seems like this is only sold at those 2 stores, which are owned by the same company. There's some pretty big storms coming through. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked this up, but to me it seems like Maxfli has been bought by Dick's and Golf Galaxy. So to me, it seems like an in-house brand, kind of similar to what they did with Tommy Armour. But the price is crazy good. We will be testing the head-to-head performance in the very next video, but here's one last look at them. Again, I'll post everything down below. Hopefully you can see them, but there's only 3 options. Again, up to you if you want to experiment with the other ones. For this one, it worked perfect, so I don't know why you would need to. But I would say get them while you can. As soon as the word gets out here about these, which is why I'm pretty glad that I went with the 7 in the first place, I have a feeling that these will sell out rather quick, especially at the price that they're at. But that's going to do it. Let me know if you have the other two, if you've tested the other two versions. I'd be curious to know. Let me know if you use these, if you use any other Maxfli ball. Maybe there's another version of a ball out there that I don't even know. I wasn't quite familiar. It seems like Maxfli is kind of coming onto the scene as of late, but I was just sticking with the TP5s because they're just tried and true and they work. But these things seem to work great, so definitely my new go-to ball for the square, which is saying a lot considering I've been with the TP5 for a long, long time now. But I'll probably save those for, I only have maybe 2 or 3 sleeves left. Save those, I guess, for special occasions or like a really big match, maybe. But for everything else, speed training, wedges, practice, SGT, scrambles, everything else, this is going to be my new go-to ball. And I'm going to have a dozen of them on the ground just because I can literally a dozen of these balls cost the same as basically 3 golf balls as a sleeve of the TP5s, as crazy as that sounds. But let me know your thoughts down below. Very curious to hear. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up and get right into the second part of this initial testing, where I'm going to be going head-to-head, 3 of these Maxfli balls versus 3 of the Taylormade TP5. So be on the lookout for that. Shout out to the members. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.